In the heart of the dense, sinister Blackwood forest, there stood an ancient mansion that cast a long, foreboding shadow over the land. It was known as Blackwood Manor. The mansion had been in the Blackwood family for generations, but its history was tainted with darkness. Locals whispered about the ghosts that roamed the halls and the malevolent forces that dwelled within. Legend has it that in the 18th century, the Blackwood family was involved in occult practices, performing sinister rituals within the walls of the mansion. Their dark deeds left an indelible mark on the place. In recent times, the mansion stood abandoned, its once glorious facade now crumbling, and its windows shattered, like the eyes of a tormented soul. Few dared to approach it, and those who did claimed to have seen eerie apparitions in the windows. My grandfather told me stories of the strange happenings at Blackwood Manor. He said he once heard mournful cries and saw lights flickering in the dead of night. One moonless night, a group of daring young adults decided to explore the abandoned mansion. Armed with flashlights and cameras, they entered the mansion's decaying gates. As they ventured deeper into the mansion, the air grew heavy and the atmosphere suffocating. They could hear whispers, like the faint echoes of the past, drawing them further into the mansion's darkness. In one room, they discovered a collection of ancient artifacts: a cryptic book with indecipherable symbols, an ornate dagger stained with dried blood, and a worn-out Ouija board. Their curiosity got the better of them, and they decided to perform a seance. The group gathered around the Ouija board, their trembling hands lightly touching the planchette. They asked if anyone was there. The room grew colder, and a sinister force seemed to fill the air. The planchette moved by itself, spelling out a name: Eleanor Blackwood. They asked more questions, and Eleanor's story began to unravel. Eleanor Blackwood was a young woman who had been accused of witchcraft in the 18th century. Her family, fearing the consequences, locked her away in a secret chamber beneath the mansion. Eleanor's spirit had been trapped there ever since, seeking justice and revenge. As the seance continued, the room grew colder, and the group began to panic. The apparition of Eleanor Blackwood materialized before their eyes, her hollow, accusing gaze sending shivers down their spines. One of them couldn't bear the terror and fled the room. The rest desperately tried to close the seance, but it was too late. Eleanor's tormented spirit was unleashed, and she began exacting her revenge. The group faced a nightmarish ordeal as they experienced poltergeist activity, objects levitating, doors slamming, and spectral hands reaching out from the darkness. They were trapped in a malevolent nightmare. As the night wore on, the group's desperation grew. They could hear Eleanor's whispers, a haunting litany of grievances against her accusers echoing through the mansion. She blamed the Blackwood family for sealing her fate, cursing their name for all eternity. One by one, the group members began to change. It started with fits of madness, erratic behavior, and then something more sinister. One of them became possessed, speaking in a guttural, otherworldly voice, warning the others to leave before it was too late. Terrified and desperate, the remaining members decided to flee the mansion. But as they reached the front door, they found it slammed shut with an otherworldly force, locking them inside. The shadowy figure of Eleanor appeared before them, her eyes filled with fury and vengeance. She beckoned them to join her in the depths of the mansion, her voice a chorus of anguished souls. The group was surrounded by eerie manifestations, ghostly apparitions, ethereal hands clawing at their flesh, and the disembodied whispers of the mansion's tormented souls. It was a nightmare beyond their worst fears. The possessed member pleaded for help, but his voice was drowned out by the cacophony of torment that filled the mansion. The others watched in helpless horror as he was pulled into the darkness, vanishing from sight. Those who remained, frantic and desperate, tried to banish the spirits and seal the portal they had unwittingly opened. They recited prayers, performed rituals, and finally the room fell silent. The group, disheveled and traumatized, stumbled out of Blackwood Manor as the first light of dawn broke over the horizon. The mansion, seemingly drained of its malevolence, stood in eerie silence. One member of the group later shared their harrowing experience. "We had ventured into that house out of curiosity, and we found something we could never have imagined. We had unknowingly released a centuries-old curse and barely escaped with our lives." Blackwood Manor, the cursed abode in the heart of the sinister forest, remains a chilling reminder that some secrets should remain buried, and that the past has a way of reaching out to those who dare to disturb it. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe for more future videos. Thank you.